Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Here we are, game number 2 now coming at us here. Of 2-0 versus Reason Gaming. Of course, 2-0 up 1-0 right now. So, trying to make it 2-0, or you could say 2-0 here. Those are the best. Anyways, here we are in the second game of the Time to Win Heroes and Earth Invitational. I'm joined by currently formless here. He's cool enough to be here. What you got, I believe, is going to be AFK for maybe 5 minutes or so, but he'll be back eventually. Welcome back, formless.
Thanks. I'm kind of eating right now.
Okay, so you're half here.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we got this game starting here. We got Midas, Wild Soul, Behemoth, and Riptide banned. So, hey, they didn't like the Riptide from last game, but the problem with that is one, they're Hellborn, and that means that they give up Tremble in this case. And Tremble, especially right now, is just usually considered a hero that you do not want to give up. So that already is an issue, you could say, for Reason Gaming. But, you got to play against something tough in the end. So they figure out the Tremble this time. They get Swift Play themselves, so we'll see how they fare with them. Lodestone in response now for 2-0 coming.
Yeah, it's like you have to choose your own poison pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Tremble is so strong, and it's definitely worthy of the first pick. One thing though is that Archie Tiger actually picked Swiftblade at first pick against the Tremble. Tremble's, he's a known hero. He's known to be good against heroes like Swiftblade just because of that. The passive lets him double attack, and he's all physical, so he can kill Swiftblade through his spin.
A good counter to Tremble is, what I think at least, is Scout.
Yeah, he actually really is, because of the disarm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I know that we like Warbeast against the hero because you can kill his mounds with the wolves.
That's true. Yeah.
But yeah, you make a good point. Scout is actually a really good hero against Tremble.
Yeah, I didn't even realize until we saw a matchup. I even think it was Squirry playing it because he's the one that's played Scout a couple times, and they played it against a Tremble, and you could just see, the disarm, it was ridiculous. Tremble was basically just walking around doing nothing in fights because of it, and that also brings something else to say. I mean, for up until really like a month ago or so, he was the only hero in the game that ever had disarm. Obviously, Vindicator now does have disarm with the new skill set, but he is not eligible currently for tournament rules, so still giving him a little bit of time before he's going to be able to be picked up. But yeah, disarm is a powerful ability, so something to think about here in a hero like Tremble. So we got Parasite and Empath, and now Magnus coming out with that final third pick. So Reason liking their Swiftblade again here, as we mentioned. The Magnus
so far, Legion's draft is pretty late game oriented. The Tremble, the Empath. I'm kind of curious how Hellborn's actually going to lane this. If they're going to do like a Magnus mid, if they're going to do a Swiftblade Suicide.
Mm-hmm.
Because typically, you don't really want to run a hard carry Swiftblade against the Tremble because Tremble just would stomp Swiftblade in a 1-versus-1 matchup.
So it sounds like, ideally running it more as a suicide then is what makes sense here. And
either a mid.
Yeah. They did that last time. They did run him the suicide last game, of course. So yeah, wouldn't be surprised. Like him suicide, he got the Magnus middle, and then still need their short lane and support here for the final 2 picks. So, yeah, we'll see what direction they do go in, though. But now back to the Legion side, already with the Lodestone, Empath, and Tremble, of course, as we're talking about. So they could use their middle as well as either jungler or secondary support here. Is Parasites? No, yeah, Parasites picked up 100%. So, Reason Gaming got him there. Wonder what jungler 2-0 may go. I think they usually prefer to run jungler. Hey, is what you got back.
Hopefully we can see like a Gladiator jungle. It'd be fun.
Ooh, yeah, Gladiator jungle.
Oh, I'd like to see some Gladiator.
Yeah.
It was pretty fun watching it in the other series as well.
There it is.
The Gladiator.
Here we go. Good
right.
call. Good call. Yep, Peksu is known to do the jungle gladiator, and I mean, it doesn't have to be jungle here yet. It could be the middle.
Yeah, I believe he also plays it in the mid role, so it's interchangeable as far as how 2-0 does play their gladiator.
Yeah. So now back to Reason Gaming. Welcome back. What you got, by the way, to the cast here. We were mentioning Tremble picked up, and we were talking about the idea of a way to kind of counter Tremble is Scout's actually pretty good at that with that disarm. So
Yeah, Formless has brought to my attention that he really likes Scout. Wild Soul is a pretty good hero, simply due to how tanky he builds, how it is banned here, so not going to be an option for them in terms of dealing with Tremble.
well, they're gonna have to think quickly. Kraken is gonna be one way, at least they figure. But now, how are they laning? So it is gonna be a carry Swiftblade in the end, unless they support Magnus here. I doubt they're doing that. So
Yeah, and if they choose to run Swiftblade as their only carry option against a Tremble, I don't foresee that doing very well. Swiftblade is not really a hero that deals really well with a Tremble because Tremble doesn't really care about the magic immunity, of course, from Swiftblade. He can immobilize Swiftblade, I believe, even in the spin. And he has the Boris as well to absorb a lot of the Swift slashes. So Tremble just overall really, really good at dealing with Swiftblade. He picks up a Basher very early as one of his core items as well. Tremble also peaks very early with his item progression. So Swiftblade has a lot of trouble as a one role competing with a Tremble head on. And I don't foresee it going very well for them if that's how they do choose to finalize their draft, which they do. So it is very scary for Reason Gaming, I'll say, if they are going to go up against this Tremble with a one core lineup in the Swiftblade.
Yep. The Kraken pickup kind of solidified that they were going to run the Swiftblade as a hard carry because they have to put the Magnus in a lane, which is because they have a Parasite, so the Magnus would have to be Suicide or mid.
yeah.
But I'm hoping that we actually see like a lot of Wombo combo team fights from Legion side.
Yeah, that Flux final pick. Flux kind of died a little bit. We haven't seen Flux a whole lot, and you know, even without the Wombo combo potential, it seemed like Flux was getting a lot of attention. You know, back when Krake especially was still playing with BMG, and obviously he was known for playing it quite a bit. So a hero that kind of has just lost interest, I guess, amongst the competitive scene. But yeah, when you talk about Wombo combo, he's obviously up there with the best of them, at least for setting it up. You got him, Gladiator, and Lodestone in this case for the Legion side. So it is going to be Pexu and Gladiator, by the way, playing jungle most likely, as we're excited to see here. So,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, what do you guys think about Flux though? Well, why has Flux kind of just stopped being a thing?
Well, back when I was drafting for our team, I used to pick up the hero a lot. Fuzzy plays it really well, and I think the hero does really well when you pick up heroes like Tempest. Behemoth has become very popular right now, so I think Flux could definitely still be a hero that we could see more often. I think it just comes down to, I don't think a lot of people, I think people just kind of forget about Flux, or they don't really play it that often enough. But I still think it's definitely a solid hero, and he does really well 1v1 a lot of the time. He is very strong in the laning phase with his very tanky nature, as well as his ability to output a lot of harass with his magnetic surge ability. So I overall think he's a great hero.
So Formless,
Yeah,
what you got
I
wants to
agree with
know
him.
why you don't draft it.
I mean, I agree with him that it is still a really strong hero. It's just personal preference, though. I think there are a lot of heroes that perform his role better, as in like the 1v1 mid role or even duelating. So that's probably why we don't pick it up very often. But I mean, there are some drafts where we probably will pick it up if other comfort heroes are banned.
All right. Well, picked up here by 2-0 against Sephironthe. Going to be playing it actually for his team. So see how he fares with it here in that middle lane. And yeah, again, the scouting tool I think is something that's even I was being overlooked there a little bit in the Sand Wraith, obviously how popular he's become. Now maybe it's not for the scouting purpose, of course, but it's global presence. But obviously Flex brings that too with the global presence, the scouting that he can use on cooldown that, only 60 seconds at level 3. So, yeah, looking forward to seeing his impact here in this game. Here, once again, in that middle matchup against Magnus in this case. How about the choice to do an aggressive pseudo-Trilane, though, by the Hellborn team? They sent Swiftblade and Andromeda down here against the Tremble Empath. I guess it is a pretty passive duo here in these two.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, seeing as how... Sorry. I was just going to say, it makes a lot of sense, seeing as how Legion did pick up a Gladiator jungle, which isn't the strongest hero at really fending himself against aggressive heroes like the Parasite. So, as we've already seen, Gladiator's just left the bottom lane altogether, and he basically just wants to try to secure himself whatever farm he can.
You also see Tremble coming to the top lane on top of that, so yeah. Rotations all over. We're seeing Lodestone towards the bottom now, and I'm sure Empath may eventually end up elsewhere as well. The last thing, I was going to say, she's vulnerable to being killed, and actually, she may very likely be killed here unless the wall is perfect. Wow, the placement there from Serox. Look at the run here. Unbelievable. He's actually going to escape. I thought for sure that's insta-death, but he manages to get out of there. That was a huge play. Wall there.
Yeah, definitely. And this is one of the many huge strengths of Tremble. He can just, he puts the mound down, obviously, in the top lane, and as soon as he spots out the aggressive makeup from Reason Gaming, he just switches lanes and goes to the top lane and ports, basically for free. Doesn't even need to use a TP scroll, so always a really nice thing to have. The ability to change up your lanes really quickly.
Just another thing that Tremble's pretty good at in the end, so... Yeah, we were also talking about, I know you came in a little bit later what you got, but Lodestone, by the way, okay. Now, I don't think he's getting out of this one. He is literally stuck. I love that taunt. Anyways. Yeah, he got caught in a pretty bad spot. I don't know, I guess he just simply rocket drilled. He probably was trying to rocket drill to the river and then kind of got caught in between the lake even, but... Anyways, he goes down. Bloodless kill coming out there for Swiftblade. But what I was getting at was the bans. They actually banned Riptide with their final ban to Reason Gaming instead of Tremble. So, would you say, would you have reacted like that perhaps? I mean, Riptide did have a pretty good game, and he is an annoying hero to play against. But, I mean, giving up Tremble is pretty big deal, right? So.
Yeah, you should be able to know how to deal with a Riptide and draft accordingly if you are against one. Tremble, one of those heroes that just his power level is just way higher, in my opinion. Much harder to deal with, and just really like an overall really solid hero. So I think Tremble just warrants a ban 9 out of 10 times, maybe even 10 out of 10 times over a Riptide. Yeah, I think I have to change that and say 10 out of 10.
Every single time. All right. This start though, I mean. Things are looking pretty good here for Reason Gaming because they kill Flux right there in the middle lane. Obviously, the roaming come with it to do that. Andromeda and Parasite, fantastic at that. Empath now also in trouble. You see Pitfall. Oh, the mischarge from Kraken. Just missing the angle, so missing out on a kill chance there. At least Empath again manages to get the hell on out of there. But Tremble now back to the bottom lane and going to continue to try to pick up farm down here. So, yeah, this has really been a strong start, though. The top 3 farmers all belong on the side of Reason Gaming, actually, with Magnus, Parasite, or Magnus, Kraken, and Swiftblade, that is. So far, bottom lane. Oh boy, Magnus coming in with the invis. They're going to try to get Tremble right here. As soon as he comes out, there's the spin on top. Lowstone's here, but he can't really do anything against the spinning Swiftblade, of course. Now he can, though. There's a head smash. He needs to land this rocket drill. It's so tough, though, with the constant moving. Oh, no, he can't. There comes a wall. Lowstone in trouble. He gets away, and Empath gets the kill. The timing was perfect once again, so he's taking a 1-for-1. But the big point is, I mean, I guess they both are carries for the team, to be fair. So, it's funny how that turns out. And now Tremble's back. But yeah, what do you guys think of this lead so far for Reason? I mean, I know it's very early on, but a little surprised you?
No, I think that it's they have a really aggressive early game team, and they really do need to be aggressive against the Trimble. So it was really good for them to man up. One thing though is that Trimble, they really need to apply pressure to Trimble. Because once he gets that Thunderclaw, he's going to spiral out of control.
How's he doing here? 270 gold per minute again, not doing that great so far, but does get the Ghost Marchers to enhance his farm for the time being at least, so. Yeah, still needs a bit for that Thunderclaw here. That's going to be of impact. A heavy portal key team here on the Hellborn side, I guess. Well, just a couple heroes, but Kraken and Magnus definitely going to try to prioritize that portal key as Empath gets picked off again. Swiftblade may be the carry of the team, but man, he's being a very active carry here. Constantly getting kills. He's 3-1-0 now. As we're not done just yet, apparently. Lodestone also getting curious. And he goes down. What is happening here? It's like they just keep forgetting that they're here. I guess Tremble's going to be fine, but...
Just some really aggressive play coming out by Reason Gaming. Definitely what they need to do. Apply a lot of pressure to these, to the heroes like Tremble and Gladiator, who, if they're allowed to farm, that will become a big problem for Reason Gaming. So it's definitely a good job by them to force a lot of aggression. Like we talked about at the picking screen, how if Swiftblade, if Swiftblade and Tremble have equal farm, Tremble's going to have his way with Swiftblade. So they have to make sure to keep Swiftblade above Tremble's farm and item progression as the game progresses. Otherwise, it'll get to a point where it becomes disastrous for Reason Gaming. So they're definitely doing what they need to do, and they're doing a really good job of it.
I mean, this roam is getting ridiculous. Obviously, they go to the middle lane right there. Although Magnus, he's getting a little low. Is going to be fine for the time being. They want to try to go into Lodestone, it looks like, but I think he's going to be a little too safe here. And it will be fine, but man, all of a sudden now a 4,000 gold lead and experience lead for Reason Gaming. Again, the top three farmers still remaining on their side, and goes back to Swiftblade, his star, with those Ghost Marchers, Kraken and Magnus going to be on their way to now their own portal keys here. Flux, on the other hand, I guess he's doing all right, 260 GPM. And Tremble is 300 right now. You mentioned the Thunderclaw. Once he gets that, then he can start to skyrocket. So it is an early lead, and pretty good one at that, but definitely never feeling too comfortable. You got to keep it up here. I think if you're Reason Gaming, of course. Don't want to let up the pressure. But Magnus and Andromeda are at least trying to make sure of that here. Middle. Nope, not going to catch him. Maybe? Okay, maybe they are, actually. Here we go. I feel like we've seen this before.
Yeah. That's also one thing about Flux, that he's really easy to set up kills on. He may be tanky, but he almost has zero mobility. Top lane.
What is going on, man? I mean, they're just dying left and right. I mean, the gank's one thing, but then a solo Kraken kills a solo Gladiator up top. I guess he has a pretty big level advantage, but still. Not as planned.
And Kraken's actually getting closer to that portal key. So once they get those portal keys, they can just train all over Legion's side of the map.
Where has Pexu been, by the way? Has he kind of been laning? Like, has he actually been jungling? I haven't even really noticed.
He was top. He was laning top for a while, which he just died to Kraken. But now it looks like he's just going to rotate the bottom and hopefully try and push them out. But Hellborn does see them in the ward.
Oh, boy. Here we go again. Swiftblade trying to get in there. As top lane, down goes Squirry. You got Magnus and Tremble, or Magnus and Kraken, excuse me, both killing Tremble right there. And now here goes Parasite. He's coming in the face. I got a Gladiator. Nice wall, but the Swift Slash is going through. Only bounced once, though. Doesn't matter. Spin comes out. Easy kill in the end. Empath also now in trouble. The kill is just so costly here for a reason. Flux does pour it in, trying to at least get a turn here. And very likely may. In fact, Andromeda is going to be picked off, and so the dive may backfire. Flux, he does have his ultimate. I was going to say, might want to use it here soon. There's a pullback in, but he just can't keep close enough. He did not have a release up right there, and that could be the saving grace. Lodestone, he takes a little lead, tries to stun, but Swiftblade going another direction. He does have that homecoming stone, and I think he actually is going to make the escape in the end. There we go. A spin in the TP. Wow, I mean, that's big that he got out. 10-2 hero kills, though, and there's a tower kill on top of that. This is a completely different Reason Gaming team here.
Yeah, it was good that they pushed the aggression early game. Exactly what they needed to do. I'd see the jungle gladiator isn't working out here just because it's that. Yeah, I don't see how Legion teams will be able to recover this until Trimble really gets those core items.
Mm-hmm.
Flux is 230 GPM, not really close to any big items. So as long as Hellborn keeps pushing their advantage, because Trimble's not going to have anywhere to farm.
Yeah, and now those portal keys obviously a huge factor. So it's pretty ridiculous on the Legion side. It's like what can they do? There's a stunning from Magnus. The combo's on the top. The follow-up, he could not get the face hug. Oh, he does. What was that? He got swapped and then face hugged in. That looked really funky. Lodestone gets the Shadow Storm off, but he goes down. The levels and items just too much. Empath, he's going to fall. It's a hat trick for the team. 3-0. And now Tremble, he's just simply trying to run away. Oh, the charge. Well, that was a good idea, but unfortunately Tremble stopped moving, so that I'm missing it. But then bottom tower, I'm just at a loss for words now. I mean, we're not even 12 minutes into the game. It's already a 13,000 gold lead. Like, Reason Gaming, they just, like, woke up here in game number 2.
Yeah, I think we were kind of questioning the Kraken pickup instead of going like another carry. But if you think about it, it actually does work out because of the ulti going through its superior. So it goes through Shrunken Head, so it'll drag him in. And Trimble will have a hard time being able to attack anyone either without being locked down.
I think one of the biggest things about the Kraken and why it's actually really proven to be really impactful here is he's against a lot of melee cores, and it's been not relatively easy for him by any means, but it's really nice to play Kraken against a lot of melee cores because it gives him a good opportunity to land really big release of Krakens on multiple targets. I haven't exactly been paying attention to whether or not he's been able to do that, but definitely there is the potential for that, at least throughout the game, to land that on multiple targets, as they will have to fight in melee range.
You see the bottom lane down here, the Hellborn team kind of keeping everyone really active as they're starting to push the tower. Meanwhile, Kraken, he's split pushing the top lane. Now Flux is coming up here, so he will stall this bit of push. But they know Flux is missing now, but here we go, the initiation from the Legion side. Pitfall first, hits Switchblade, he throws out the spin. No, Tremble, he's going to end up falling again. Tremble's not in a position to fight right now, and that really showed right there. All he has is a Thunderclaw and Ghost March, even Ice back. A quad kill for Switchblade. If 2-0 could concede, they would right now, I guarantee you. But they need to wait 2 more minutes. But, geez, this is just complete domination and a clear example of just because you may get dominated in one game doesn't mean that's going to be the story of the series. We have seen this before where the other team just comes back in game 2 and does the same to them. So it's going to set up for a game 3 here, looks like.
Yeah, and in game number 1, I think draft definitely was a big part of their issue as to why the game was in 2-0's favor for the most part. Definitely fixing one of their biggest weaknesses in game number 1 with a great draft here in game number 2. And we did criticize it a lot, but they played their draft flawlessly, and thus why we're seeing them in such a good position.
To be fair, the criticism came, and I think it still stands. It just happened we're not going to even get to that point of Tremble. He's powerful in a lot of cases, especially against the single core carry in that Swiftblade, as you were pointing out. I think that definitely still stands. It's just, going the Kraken and open up the doors to, instead of maybe that secondary carry option, this made it more of a we're going to play very aggressive, upbeat game here from the beginning, which proved to be obviously very correct here against this Legion side. The roam is what really killed 2-0 here. They just could not deal with it. The lanes from the beginning also clearly threw them off, and they just simply got dominated in the laning phase. So, yeah, even though I think the criticism still stands, they made it work when it needed to, that's for sure.
Yeah, and as much as we're giving a lot of praise to Reason Gaming, which I prefer to do, I think you can fall 2-0 quite a bit at the same time.
Yeah. Well, at least Legion side 2-0, they are getting a couple of kills here. I mean, Swiftblade not being here is definitely credit for that. But even with Swiftblade not here, it still ends up being a 2-for-2. And Tremble is one of those that was killed. So, again, really kind of a storyline, if anything.
The two most important heroes, 2-0 side, do fall without Swiftblade being there. And we're going to have some more action continue.
Well, that's not good because now Swiftblade is here. And all of a sudden, people are low, and he's like, I can press R. And, well, or Q. That works too.
No TP available yet on Flux. It looks like Lovestone's going to get enough distance away, but I don't think Flux is going to live to tell the tale.
There we go. The story will be short. Double tap for Mbapingu. I honestly am a little surprised 2-0 isn't conceding yet, because I can't possibly fathom a reality where they think that they actually still are looking okay in here, because they even bought back on Tremble. Like, I thought that was kind of the mark of, okay, they're kind of making a point that this game is over, but...
And something that this game actually reminds me of is kind of like an old BMG playstyle with like the Jonas and Van Hanskin team.
Yeah.
Just like picking a really aggressive team. They do have a hard carry in Switchblade, so you can't really say their team is full-on heavy aggression, but they played it kind of like that, and that's what it's reminded me of. And they played it really well.
Yeah.
So.
Absolutely, yeah. Definitely have to agree there. I mean, maybe this is what Recent Gaming has been trying to look for this whole time. Again, kind of going through a lot here in the roster changes and everything, and maybe they needed a new identity. And this could be it of, we're just going to go pretty chaotic here.
Yeah, they look so much more comfortable playing this type of gameplay.
They do, yeah. Absolutely agree. So there's another pick on a Flux right there. Happening after the tower kill as well. But yeah, that really is going to be setting up for an interesting draft 3 for sure here in game number 3 to see if they continue that trend or if they maybe fall back to, because again, the first game they drafted, what did they draft? They drafted 2 carries, right? I'm not blanking on who they had, but they went Swiftblade and...
Silhouette. Reason Gaming?
Silhouette,
yeah. It was Swiftblade and Silhouette in game number 1.
Yeah, more of that dual carry, kind of split push style of team, which, you know, maybe is not for them, so...
Yeah, the biggest thing was they only had a Bubbles with the Kelfield as their catch, and, you know, Bubbles, you know, once it gets to the stage of Shrunken Heads, Bubbles doesn't really become an initiator anymore until he has a sheep stick, so not having like a guaranteed stun for your team is always a concern when you do have a Bubbles on your team anyways. Relying on just the Kelfield is not usually going to be enough to secure team fight victories.
Yeah, now I'm thinking about it even more. They even have the empath as their support, so very passive support there.
Yep.
One that wants to use that AS1 and just enhance the carry damage. So, yeah, again, this is definitely fitting there much more effectively. So, like I said, we'll see what draft number 3 looks like once we get to there. But I guess 2-0 still finds a little bit of hope. I mean, they got a Thunderclaw and Squirry playing the Tremble, so maybe that's a little bit of it. They figure, okay, let's get him some farm now, get him that Shrunken Head here, and see if he can now get... I mean, we talk about this. Obviously a scary hero, and he is good against the Swiftblade, so maybe that's going through their head as well, but, man, this...
Yeah, I'd like to see Hellborn just go take the Kong, and then that way that secures a token for Switchblade, and will allow them to break high ground. But they're going to go for the high ground. We'll have to see if this works out. They are in a very comfortable spot, so they may not need the token in the end.
Yeah, I mean, this is where it's a little risky not doing a Congo first and pushing to the high ground this earlier on like this, but, yeah, with them having such a huge lead.
Yeah, they got all of 2-0 to fall back to their base, and I think now would be the perfect time to do it because they don't have to worry about 2-0 taking towers in their side lanes while they do this. They've forced everybody back, so you know nobody's farming right now for 2-0, and this is the prime spot to look to take the Kongor and then push the high ground.
Oh no, Boris! Boris gets picked off there. So there we go. The level 3 puzzle box comes out. Immediate counter wards. For some reason, there were 2 warded sites right next to each other. Oh, no, one was a red ward. Okay. But they're going to at least get the tower kill. And they're going to work on the melee racks right here. So here we go. You do see Tremble did by a Mighty Blade of Mystic Vestment. So he is ready for combat right here. And there's the initiation. The pull from Flux coming out with the Shadow Storm and the Call to Arms. That's the combo that they're looking for. And they still only get 1 kill on Kraken. They give it a shot.
Couple buybacks. The max is going to go down, and yeah, that's going to be
I was going to say, if they don't GG after that, come on. it's over, guys.
Fake GGs.
Yeah, the fake comeback time now. Okay. Whew. Well, maybe a little longer, but still, they tried at one big fight, which you can't blame them for in the end. So, try to see what could happen. But obviously, the farm at that point was too ridiculous in favor of Reason Gaming right there. And yeah, I mean that was fun to watch. I mean, look at Adro, 2-1-20 on Andromeda in a 20-minute game. That was pretty ridiculous. So, I
Yeah, and Andrew's one of those heroes where, you typically swap your carry and then you end up dying. So, he played pretty well to only die the one time, as well as the entire team, of course.
That too. I don't know if there's really much else to say. Kind of went over it there. That's
Yeah,
we're wrapping up.
I think we hit everything on the head.
For Melissa, you were pretty quiet there near the end. I mean, anything else?
I just want to say that even though we did criticize the draft from Reason, they